One of the real challenges we had when this council team took over was looking at the heavy emphasis on residential in Brampton. It was about 79% of the city was residential. A real shortage of employment land. Not necessarily land, a shortage of actually utilization of employment land. And so we've had a real focus on trying to bring jobs to Brampton, bring investment to Brampton. To do so, we needed to fix some of the fundamentals. I felt at the time that we were too slow to respond. There was red tape. It was a lengthy, arduous process to get response from City Hall. Now we've created a system where there is fast response, that we are equipped to have staff members assigned to a potential investor. There was also a tax challenge. The cost of locating in Brampton was more expensive than other municipalities. This year we brought in the first tax freeze in 19 years. No, we're not tax competitive yet, but we're making progress and we're going to get there. Once we fixed some of the fundamentals that I felt were challenged, we worked on our pitch. We brought in a new economic development director, Claire Barnett, who came from the province. She was a star for the province, helping run economic development for Ontario. We believe she's been a big addition, a big boost for our team here. We developed an FDI strategy. We also created a policy that is a carrot for us to use. It says for head offices, over 50,000 square feet, we can raise the development charges. Now this is significant because it allows me to go into a pitch meeting and say, you can locate in Brampton and it will be more affordable to do so than Mississauga or Vaughan. We weren't able to say that before because factually it wouldn't have been correct. We've seen some groundbreakings. We had a groundbreaking earlier this week for 235,000 square feet of industrial. We've had major investments with new investment at the railway apartments. We've had the Symphony condos, both in the downtown. We're talking about projects that are hundreds of millions of dollars in value. We had Canadian Tire announce their new distribution center, another massive facility in Brampton. But what I would say, and I have to use careful language, the biggest fish that we've been working on, you're going to hear about later. Those are pitch meetings that we've had in the last 6 months, but we're expecting announcements early in the new year of what I would believe be significant game changers for the city of Brampton. We had an effort, 3 FDI trips that I can speak of. One was the MedTech conference in Boston. I went there with Councillor Michael Peleschi and Claire. It is the largest medical devices conference in the world. And we have a growing medical device sector in Brampton. Medtronic, I think, is well known. They're growing. And we were there with our local medical device companies to help support them, to help give their pitch. I want to see them continue to grow. Frankly, I want to attract new ones. When you have a synergy in a sector, you can build that faster. That was sort of a quick one-day trip to Boston. We also attended the food processing conference. The largest food processing conference in the world is in Cologne. And the Toronto Board of Trade, the World Trade Center, asked different big city mayors to take a lead in different sectors. I've taken the lead in the food processing sector because it was identified Brampton has more food processing companies than any other big city in Canada. And it was encouraging. We were able to connect companies with new clients. We've got a number of food processing companies in Brampton that are growing, that are expanding. And some of the food processing companies aren't necessarily entry-level jobs. There's some science and technology involved to being competitive when it comes to the food industry. The one at the Web Summit with Councillor Vicente and Councillor Medeiros, that one was important because it is the largest tech conference in the world. It's run by a guy named Paddy Cosgrove. He also organizes Collision in Toronto. Collision has been huge for Toronto. Brings the world in technology to Toronto, and I've been working to cultivate a relationship with them so that Brampton can be part of it. This year we're going to have tours from the Collision in Toronto to Brampton. All these venture investors, all these tech companies, as they come to Collision, are also going to be coming to Brampton. I really believe there's opportunity when it comes to creating a tech ecosystem in Brampton. I'll tell you a number of reasons why. We have the Rogers campus, which are one of their largest Rogers campuses in Canada is actually in Brampton. So we already have a growing tech sector. We've got our co-working space. We got the cybersecurity campus. There's going to be 790 associated jobs that's opening in Brampton in the new year. The fact that we're the center for cybersecurity in Canada is a huge feather in our cap. And so I really believe we can start to create an argument that Brampton is going to be at the center of these jobs of the future. That excites me, but you actually have to get in front of people. So there was, I think it was 70,000 tech companies at the Web Summit, and everyone heard about Brampton. I made a speech. I told them about why we're the place to be, and we're going to continue to do that. Get out there, be proud of our city, tell our story, and frankly, the inspiration for that, Don, is Hazel McCallion. And Hazel told me, she had one piece of advice for me when I was taking over as mayor of the city. She said, there is a world outside your borders. And she was so successful because she went outside of Mississauga and championed Mississauga. So now, part of my job is going outside of Brampton and making the pitch for Brampton, saying, this is the place you want to locate. This is the place you want to be. And if you look at the results that Hazel had, now she's in a class of her own, a legend that I greatly admire. But if you look at some of the investment she brought to Mississauga because of her doggedness and determination, really it's something that everyone should try to replicate. Interesting, just yesterday I came from a conference. The U.S. Consular Office, the Canadian Consular Office, organized the Canada-U.S. Cybersecurity Conference to share best practices with the top cybersecurity experts in both countries. And guess where it happened? Lionhead in Brampton. Mm-hmm. The fact that two major countries would pick Brampton to be the platform in which they discuss cybersecurity, I think speaks to the fact there was a growing recognition there's something special happening here. And you talk about things we're proud of over the last year. We were a little dismayed a year ago when the Ford government walked away from the Ryerson project. I told the Prime Minister how disappointed I was over that. He said at the time, maybe there's something we can do to help, and give him credit. But I was going to say it was the federal investment in the cybersecurity center that really got this off the ground. We have Minister Baines made that announcement, 4 or 5 months ago. The fact that we're recognized as the Center for Cybersecurity in Canada, the fact we got RBC, Rogers, the Government of Canada, all putting in millions of dollars to build the center in Brampton, I got to give credit where credit's due. The federal government came up big time for us on that one, and I'm grateful.